Okay, go ahead. Everybody ready? Yeah. Okay, it's 6:31. I will call the October meeting of the Sartell-St. Stephen School Board to order. Thank you to all of the community members that are attending in person as well as online. We appreciate your interest and engagement in our school district. The expectation of our community is that all participants and attendees will conduct themselves professionally and with respect for other members of our community. With that said, I will look for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Jason, second by Jeremy. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Okay, the motion passes unanimously. Next item on the agenda is recognition of visitors and public forum. And I will quickly read the description on this. This is an opportunity for members of the school district to address the board. During this portion of the meeting, the Board of Administration will listen to comments. However, the board will not respond to questions. Since this is a meeting of the board to conduct the business of the school district, this portion of the meeting will be limited to a total of not more than 30 minutes and 10 individual speakers. Individual speakers are asked to limit their comments to not more than 3 minutes. And in the interest of maintaining a respectful and welcoming public forum, all speakers are expected to demonstrate professionalism and deliver their remarks in a respectful manner. Vulgarity, personal attacks, malice, or specific complaints identifying staff or students by name or implication will not be permitted. Okay, and with that said, we have one speaker tonight, and it is Peter.
Thank you. You have the lock-up. If not, I can use my cell phone.
You know what? I can do it.
I can do it, but I just have to touch it a couple times.
We'll let it so you can see it.
Thank you.
Give me a second.
Okay, thank you. Hi, Pete Wilson from Sartell, Minnesota. I wanted to retouch my interest in studying the COVID policies and procedures that we just went through. Without reviewing them again, I think you'll possibly or likely slip into the same pattern should the next event come or when it comes, whether it be baboon pox, orangutan pox, squirrel sneezing, or whatever ridiculous, foolish thing is dreamt up or determined. So again, it's what did you do right? What did you do wrong? Not everything was wrong. I think most was wrong. I think the majority is wrong. I think the scores show that from the children. I think the structure showed it. And also it set in motion a pattern of performance, which since it has been passed to allow for COVID camps for those who don't get inoculations of some type in the future. Again, there's a lot of doors that were open, not here by the school board, but by various government agencies, and should be looked into. So when you make decisions, realize that it is not just what you see around you. You're setting in motion, especially with some of the scoring, the ESG type scoring, not so much ESG, I'm sorry, but the social scoring that the globalists and communists want to go to. Your actions or inactions may potentially harm children and their parents or grandparents for a long time. Again, the Pfizer thing, it just came out recently, their vaccine was not tested for transmission per one of their officers or their head person. Again, I don't know how it can be a vaccine if it doesn't stop transmission. But again, that's what I'm requesting. Another last comment or two is on the result of policies being promoted. Frequently, it's very hard to understand the consequences of something. And sometimes it isn't apparent for decades afterwards what happened or what didn't happen and the effects of it. And when you look at these policies, that sometimes you are most assuredly incented with money or grants. Who do they come from? What do they want? What is their objective? What are their goals? What do they feel? What do they think? I'd look at every one. If you're not, you're failing. You're failing the children, you're failing the community, you're failing the school district. Again, it doesn't mean maybe they aren't good. It means those entities have an agenda. And if you're not aware of that, nor the type of training or the person, I think you're failing. Again, you might say, gee, it's nice somebody's going to pay for my children to go to summer camp for 3 weeks. But then if you look at it and it says Cannibals or Us are running it, you might question that. Again, just a comment on that. I think that would be worth it. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you. Okay. Next item on the agenda is I will look for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Matt, second by Jason. Any discussion?
I was just gonna say that, and it's not a one-time thing, comes up all the time, but we just have a lot of local groups that are constantly kind of helping support us. A number of them came up this time, and it crossed my mind, but I just appreciate all of our local groups that help support, whether it be band or soccer or whatever it is. It's just, we have a lot of people doing a lot of good stuff, raising some funds here and there. Just wanted to call that out.
Agreed. Thank you. I think that, yes, feel fortunate to receive so many generous donations, which are reflected in the board book packet today in the consent agenda. Any other comments or discussion? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Okay, consent agenda passes unanimously. Next item on the agenda is reports, and our first report tonight is the Saber Star report.
I'd like to welcome Principal Nelson to the podium, please.
Well, thank you very much. So again, my name is Sarah Nelson. I'm the principal at Pine Meadow Primary School. Proud to serve there, even more proud today to be here to present our Saber Staff Star Award. We had a number of staff across our school, whether it's teachers, paraprofessionals, custodial staff, that all were nominated for the Saber Staff Star Award. But from the list of nominees, we had multiple nominees for our nurse, Wendy Dolsky, who is here tonight. So Wendy, if you would just join me up here, I would appreciate it. It is with a lot of honor and great pleasure to present you with the Saber Star Staff Award, Wendy. And I just am going to read one of the nominations that were entered in respect for all the work that you do with us at Pine Meadow. It says, Nurse Wendy goes above and beyond to care for our first and second graders, as well as staff at Pine Meadow Primary School. Through her calm demeanor, she helps students and staff feel better, even in a crisis situation. She always has a smile and kind words for all, and her humor is very entertaining. If you know Nurse Wendy, you would know that to be very true. During COVID, she worked tireless countless hours to be sure we were as safe as we could be. Nurse Wendy is the perfect person to be recognized as a Saber Staff Star. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next item on the agenda is the school board student representative report. We have Ben with us.
Hello, my name is Ben, as they said. I'm an 11th grader at the high school, and I'm also the second school board rep. Last month, Steph, the senior representative, was here. And last month, she only talked about the events that were happening at the high school. However, from here on out, we'll both talk about what's happening at all of our schools. So the first of the schools is Oak Ridge, and they said that homecoming week was a huge success, and the students particularly loved that they got a DJ during their gym time. And they also enjoyed, they got to decorate Saber Strong crowns, and they really enjoyed the dress-up days. And they had they had great turnout for their float, even though it was raining, so good there. And they're super excited to build upon the tradition in the years to come. They also have been busy learning how to be Saber Strong. They've particularly learned about being safe, respectful, and engaged. Principal Bjerke read to each class to introduce being Saber Strong, and they now can earn Saber shields for a chance to be the Saber Student of the Week, recognized to the entire building. They also now have a giant teddy bear called the Saber Bear, which travels around to classrooms that are honored for their commitment to being safe, respectful, and engaged. Their learning environments are in full operation. They get to go to the library and listen to stories each week, and they get to also go to the STEM room weekly. This month, they focused mainly on letters, shapes, and numbers. They're going to head to the kindergartners get to head to the fire station, which is kind of a tradition, and they'll soon be having a fall family night, similar to what Pine Meadow has had in the past. So that brings us well to Pine Meadow, which is the next school, and the teachers have been looking forward to and are currently sharing the students' learning in their parent-teacher conferences, which started this evening and are probably going on right now, and will continue through Tuesday evening and Wednesday morning. They also are partnering with the Foster Grandparent Program, where they're welcoming 2 new foster grandmas Rosie and Barb, at the end of October, and they are very sad that they will now be missing Grandpa Kevin, who retired recently. Riverview had a PTO walkathon, and they really enjoyed their dress-up days, and they ended their week with the all-school assembly, where they were randomly selected to get to throw a pie in the face of a staff member if they were selected in a drawing. And they also did a great job making a minion float for the homecoming parade. They also very much enjoyed having Reggie Dobb come in and speak. He brought a lot of energy and a great message, and they can't wait for the next motivational speaker. The middle school, the 6th graders got to go to the community center to learn about Sartell and its history, and that's just in time for Sartell's birthday. And Reggie Dobbs again presented inspirational assemblies for the students and staff that they very much enjoyed. Donna Keller, who was one of the English teachers, gave a presentation about the Great Depression, which is something she comes in and does every year. And the students really enjoyed that because she brings in lots of demonstrations and has fun with that. They also got to send 10 people to a field trip to St. John's, who are particularly into science and that sort of thing, where they get to learn about new things and solutions to the world's problems. And finally is the high school, which is my school, so I'm slightly partial to it. The student council worked very hard planning homecoming week and the dress-up days for not only the high school, but the other schools as well. The Pet Fest we had on Wednesday was a huge success, and each grade got to participate in a Guess the Movie Kahoot, where the class officers got suggestions of what was correct from the students. And then each sport also presented a dance that they had worked on the previous week to the school. And then the homecoming king and queen voted for who was best. Cross country won. And finally, Reggie Dobbs came into our school as well and gave 2 motivational talks, one to the 9th and 10th graders and one to the 11th and 12th graders. He played the soprano saxophone to popular songs, and everybody got to sing along, and it was a great time. And then everybody really particularly loved it when we got to send our favorite teachers up and laugh at their silly dance moves, and it was a lot of fun.
Thank you very much, Ben. Any questions for Ben? Okay, great, thank you so much. Okay, next item on the agenda is the superintendent report.
Before I get started, I just want to thank Ben. This is Ben's first time, and you did it like a pro. Excellent work, and thank you for that report. Lot to share here, and a little bit of overlap with what we just heard from Ben, but we'll soon be approaching the quarter pole of the school year, and it continues to be one of the very best in memory for the students, staff, and families. For someone who visits all 5 schools very regularly, I can say with confidence that student and staff morale is high and learning is occurring at very high levels. This year just feels different, and it's a very good different. And we're all happy about that. Since we last met, we had that exciting event-filled homecoming week that Ben alluded to. The week included a student-led carnival. It was well-attended and a lot of fun. Yours truly spent some time in the dunk tank, and as I shared with a few others before, funds were raised for the charity Kids Fighting Hunger. My presence in the dunk tank may or may not have provided a significant contribution to the cause, but I can report that there was a line in the dunk tank when I left. In partnership with our friends from the city of Sartell, United Way, and our local faith community, Sartell Community Night was held on September the 29th. It was an amazing event, had approximately 700 people there to break bread, visit with representatives from a wide array of community resource organizations, and hear from nationally acclaimed speaker Reggie Dawes. Reggie was also, as Ben mentioned, in all 5 of our schools on September 26th and 27th. Feedback from students, staff, and families was tremendously positive. I attended each of the school assemblies, and it's fun to share that even our high schoolers, and Ben, you can probably attest to this as well, they were singing and dancing in the aisles as Reggie shared his messages of hope, love, and togetherness. At our special board meeting, and all of you were present for that, the board approved labor contracts with our paraprofessionals as well as our school service employees local 284, which is our multi-unit employee group consisting of our bus drivers, nutrition services employees, and custodians. With these agreements, we currently have contracts in place with all 5 of our employee bargaining units. It's pretty significant because each of these groups brings tremendous value to our system, and we need each and every one of them to ensure that our students are learning and families are being served. As part of our commitment to our equity and student experience work, I'd like to share that we continue to monitor progress towards the action steps agreed to by the committee, and a detailed and comprehensive list of progress towards the action items will be posted on our website probably around the middle of November. As mentioned, as part of that comprehensive progress report, I do want to share a little bit of a quick mention here. Last Wednesday, our activities director, Bruce Thompson, held the first of what will be many Saber Leadership Council meetings. The meeting consisted of 25 students representing 15 different Saber activities. The Leadership Council worked with Mr. Thompson to construct future agendas, which are going to include things like what is our purpose, our collective why, and sharing ideas how to support one another and their collective Saber activities. Mr. Thompson mentioned he thinks this is going to grow in numbers and activities, and we're excited about that. They also have guest speakers lined up for all of the activities to enhance their connections and build unity within our school. Since our last board meeting, I've attended several meetings, including the Stearns County Family Collaborative Board of Directors meeting, Benton Stearns Education District meeting, Minnesota Association of School Administrators annual business meeting, Partner for Student Success Board meeting, the monthly membership of our C districts, regional superintendents meeting, and our local chamber meeting. On top of that, our district coordinating council met last week. Again, that's a group of site and district administrators and members of our Sartell Education Association. I know we have at least one member that's here in the audience today. Team meets quarterly to proactively discuss questions, concerns, and happenings. One of the items we discussed was the promotion of the Minnesota Teacher of the Year Award. This information has also been shared via our social media outlets. I'd like to publicly encourage students, parents, guardians, staff, and any member of the community to nominate one of our fabulous teachers for the award. Sartell High School also recently had 3 students recognized in the National Merit Scholarship Program for their outstanding academic achievements as demonstrated by their PSAT scores. 2 students were recommended as commended, and 1 was named a national semifinalist. We'll continue forward in the scholarship program. These are highly acclaimed designations, and we applaud the achievement of these students. As the board knows, we have a tremendous relationship with our local Boys and Girls Club, and they utilize our school sites to provide childcare for families. In an effort to assist in gaining additional substitute teachers, they'll be creating a special waiver for reduced childcare costs for individuals who serve as substitutes in our district. Details are being finalized, but this will be for Kids Start Preschool, not the Kids Stop, but Kids Start, which already has different payment process for Kids Stop. So we really appreciate that partnership with the Boys and Girls Club and their willingness to find creative ways to assist our school district. This one's kind of big. This is more recent. As we approach winter weather, it's time to start talking about this a little bit. And prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, you recall that Sartell-St. Stephen, Sauk Rapids, Rice, and St. Cloud schools essentially formed what I call a triad where decisions are made together. Due to a variety of factors, we kind of got away from that last year, that coordinated decision-making process, but we met recently and recommitted to working together on these decisions related to school closures. While all three superintendents recognize we will not always get it right, we're making decisions together with respect to that. But I wanted to make a few points of emphasis that are worth sharing with the community. All three school districts are committed, and this is a key term, whenever possible, to notifying families of closures no later, but hopefully much earlier than 9 p.m. the night before. If no notification is given by 9 p.m., families can assume that school will be in session. If the weather pattern changes, as we know it can happen in Minnesota, we'll contact families at 5:30 in the morning just to sort out those plans for the day for those closures. In short, we're really going to focus on doing the best job possible to notify families as early as possible the night prior, unless something happens where we have to notify in the morning. And we will be together. So snow is a little less predictable, but for cold, our agreed upon threshold, and this sounds really cold, but it is, minus 35 degrees wind chill. We're going to be using the National Weather Service for the readings, and these official numbers come out of the city of St. Cloud. So if you recall last year, we had a day where it was awful cold, and we didn't cancel school that day. Next day was awful cold again, but actually warmer than the day before, and we did. So we wanted to have a number that we were going to agree upon to say this is where we're going to close, and that number is minus 35 degrees wind chill. If you look at our website, you'll find in the winter weather, there's a chart which demonstrates the ambient temperature and the wind speed. So it's sort of easy to read. So we're going to be utilizing that for cold weather. Hopefully we don't have a lot of it this year, but we might. So I'll be sure that with the board, because that's the reason happening. And that concludes my report.
Any questions for Dr. Rattlehuber? I'll ask one. On the weather stuff, I know that in the past we have used late starts from time to time. Is that still something that the group is considering using if we see that the wind chill will be, cold really early but warming up?
Short answer is yes, that's a possibility. It's much easier to do late starts than it is to do early releases, simply getting the bus drivers back. So it is a possibility. If we notice the weather is going to improve dramatically, whether it's the cold temperatures or if the roads are going to be clear, then that's a possibility.
Can you just remind me again what the activity office is calling the meeting?
Yes, it's the Saber Leadership Council. It's one of those things you'll find in our EESC action steps, and it's also included in the district operation that we're talking about later.
All right, if there are no other questions for Dr. Rattlehuber, we will move on to the next item on the agenda, which is school board committee reports. And I would ask if anyone has any committees to report on.
It's a great operations one, but we talked mostly about the DOP, so
Okay.
that'll come up in a little bit.
I was at the Senior Connection meeting, and I guess I just want to emphasize, I think it was touched upon that the sixth graders got to go to the community center, but the feedback I got from them was they were really, really excited, and they had a really, really great time. There was only minor hiccups, and they can't wait to do it again next year, was the feedback I got. So.
Great.
The first curriculum instruction and assessment meeting of the year is tomorrow morning, first thing. So, Yep, Amanda and I will both be there. We'll report back at our next meeting.
Great.
I'll touch on policy quick since nobody's taking that one. You'll see there's a list in our end of the agenda. We have a bunch of things that are being revised. So just we knocked out a bunch. We had for the 3-hour meeting, knocked out a lot of old business, kind of got things cleaned up, things we've been kicking down the road. So lots of good work there. And yeah, if there's any questions, we can answer those about those policies. But a lot of them were just MSBA updates and things like that too.
Even a couple of them that had extensive changes, they basically wrote the Minnesota statute language into the policies now, because there's been some questions on those topics. And I think the only other one with really extensive changes was public forum, we just wrote it to be consistent with how we do public forum.
Any other committee reports? Okay, hearing none, we will move on to action items, and I will look for a motion to approve the personnel omnibus resolution.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Jeremy, second by Jason. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Okay, motion passes unanimously. Next item on the agenda is to approve the 2022-2023 district operational plan. Look for a motion to approve that.
Might I say just a few things real quick?
Well, I'll make a motion to approve it and then I'll.
Okay.
I'll second.
Motion by Jason, second by Tricia. And now, any discussion or explanation?
Yeah, I just want to thank the board for their hard work on putting together the strategic plan. Because without the strategic plan, we don't have a district operational plan of which all of our goals for the year are attached. And while there's a million different things that schools and districts can do for goals, we really needed to make ours align and put in place with the structures we have in place for our school district. And putting together the 6 strategic directions really helped guide the work. And I say this often, but the school board has done a great job of creating the conditions for our school district to be successful. And I want to thank you for that. So the operational plan, if you'll notice, it is rather lengthy this year, and it won't be this long going forward. But this year, it's rather lengthy because there was a lot of stuff that we were working on. But you'll notice we have the new mission statement on there as well as the vision statement. You don't see the core beliefs, but they're really intertwined throughout the entire document. The rest of it is led by the strategic direction. So there are headings for each of these things, and there's different rationale listed for why we're working on these goals. And if you look through them, some of these goals are very much operational in nature, while others are instructional. So we again put the goal there, the strategies from which we're going to accomplish the goal, how we're going to document that we did accomplish the goal in the time frame that we have set forth to do so. This is something that I will report back to the board again, most likely in January, and then again, most likely in May. A new document will be created annually, and that document will probably come forward for the 23-24 school year sometime in the spring as well, or else early summer. So you'll have the ability to see that as well. So this document is really going to guide our work as a school district. While we'll do other things, these are the things that we're going to be focusing on for the 2022-2023 school year.
Thank you. Questions for Jeff?
I don't have a question as much as, I mean, obviously from operations, we've looked at this quite a bit. I think, I love, I think there's a lot of clear performance indicators and documentation. I think it's really clear on where we're going to actually see this and how we're going to see it play out. So I really appreciate that. I think it puts a lot of legs to a lot of the work that we did in the strategic plan, but I think it nails it down and really explains it well.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you looking through this. I think it's really great that you'll be able at the end of the school year to go through and go, check, or, well, we're going to keep working on this. We didn't quite make it. How can we incorporate that for next year? And also from just a decision-making standpoint, to be able to go, how does this tie in? Is this something that needs to happen now? Is this something that we need to look at to put in for next year? So I just think this will help focus so much more as to what's going on in the district. So just thanks for putting in the time to create that. So
Team effort.
Great. Any other questions or discussion? Okay, hearing none, then we'll take it to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion passes unanimously. Next item on the agenda is discussion. So in this section, the first thing we have listed is our next regular board meeting, which will be Monday, November 21st in this location at 6:30 p.m. It also lists out first readings of our revised policies that are up for revision, as Amanda and Matt mentioned. And then the second is second readings for 2 policies that were on at a previous meeting. And then the third item is official review of policies, which are policies that haven't had any changes, but were reviewed by policy committee. And then one other thing that I wanted to mention and ask all of you about is that historically, after each election, we have a canvassing meeting. We are required to do that between 3 and 10 days after an election to accept the results of our election. So we do not currently have that on the calendar. Doing the math, what we've done in the past was normally the Friday after an election, but I looked at the calendar and that is Veterans Day. And I do not believe we're allowed to have a meeting on Veterans Day as it's a holiday. So I would be looking at trying to schedule a meeting with folks the week after. We normally just do, it's a quick 5-minute meeting to accept the election results. And so I would probably try to do something at 8:30 on one morning. And I'm just wondering if people are available that week or have any days that they're not available.
I can do that whole week at
Yeah.
8:30.
I would prefer Tuesday or Thursday.
Okay. All right. Well, once that gets finalized, we'll send it out. And I don't have any other discussion items. Does anyone else have anything? Okay. With that, I will look for a motion to adjourn. Motion by Tricia, second by Jason. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.